Hello, everyone. This is Steve Dubin from my Pinnacle Network. This is our podcast, More Than 2 Minute Drill. We started having 2 minute drills for our networking groups. They are business to business once a month groups. And we share networking tips that were typically 2 minutes long. And these interviews, we tend to go about 10 minutes and we introduce some of our more venerable members. Today we have with us Alex Bungener. And Alex is a serial entrepreneur. I've known Alex now for over 5 years. He has had anywhere from a dog walking business to a billiard competition business to now his real bread and butter and his genius, his dharma, is SEO and digital marketing. Alex comes to us from Charlotte, North Carolina, so if he sounds funnier than people here in Dorchester, why? And he came to Cape Cod years ago and was captivated and went native, and he's been here about a decade or so. And so,
Actually, two.
all right. Well, so I introduced you as a rebuttal to all my errors. First, why don't you tell us a little bit about what brought you here and what you're currently doing?
Well, I came to the Cape because just fell in love with the area. I love the history of it, the old architecture and such. And so actually, when I sold my second business, which was a pre-employment screening company, that's when we moved to the Cape in 2000. So been up here 20 years now. So I've learned to swallow my eyes, but I can't make my eyes not drag out with the Southern sound to it. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And so, there are a lot of people who talk about generically their digital advertising business. And I think first our eyes glaze over, and secondly, we sort of lump everybody into the same bucket of what does that mean? He's trapped in his mom's basement making bad websites. And in your case, I know that's not true. So tell me sort of what differentiates your company from many of the other people who do some of the things that you do.
I think the biggest thing that separates us is it's my passion to grow small local businesses. And I enjoy helping them accomplish and grow their sales and their profits. So we concentrate, and one of the things that I always strive for is delivering a high ROI, because I'm a person that believes in value. I don't mind spending money if I get the value for it. And that's what we try to deliver, is a great value.
And can you be a little more specific? And maybe it's easier for all of us if you talk about sort of a client story of how you brought value and what you specifically did for them to generate new opportunity.
Okay, someone that we mutually know. I started working with them, I think it was 4 years ago. And he had been with a number of other SEO companies for like a 10-year period and never, ever got a lead from any of them. And after a couple of years of knowing him, he hired us. And for probably the last 3 years or so, we have been his number one source for new business through our efforts. And what we do is we do the local lead generation via search engine optimization, maps optimization. That's a change that we've made over the past 2 years, is concentrating more on the map section. And the reason that I love what we do and why I think it's one of the most effective methods of internet marketing is because what you're doing is getting in front of your hottest prospect. And that hottest prospect is the one looking for what you do. And so now when people are looking for IT services, he comes up, and that's why he keeps getting calls and form fill outs and picks up business on a consistent basis and has been for 3 years plus.
Okay. Uh, Very good. I have a better understanding of what you do now. Um, and tell us, ironically, you're in the lead generation business, but you know that a lot of your leads need to be generated on a know, like, and trust, very personal referral basis. And that leads us back to our conversation about networking. What or what are the best venues for your kind for networking for you that you find successful?
I find that the chamber events, the other organized events like the SSPNG, um, those types of networking meetings work well. It just kind of considers, I guess, a lot with the industry you're in and the prospect that you're looking for. My prospect is the business owner. It's not the regular consumer. Whereas for other people, it can be the regular consumer, such as for a family attorney, a personal injury attorney, um, you know, financial planner people. They can work with anyone. But like an IT company like me, they're working with the business owner or the manager of the whole computer system type thing.
And so are you finding that at these face-to-face meetings when they existed, these folks would show up?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell us your best way to engage them?
I think the best way to engage them is to find out what they do. And what's really cool is I find a lot of times that I'll talk to someone that's in something rather unique type of business, and then I'm just kind of grilling them with all these interest, with all these questions, because I'm like, wow, okay. So kind of explain that and that type of thing.
Okay. And what percentage of your business comes um, from networking as opposed to other methods?
I would, hmm, um, I would say probably 60% or more.
Okay. And so, um, as one of your advocates for your business, what are the red flag kind of phrases that I should listen for that would indicate that an introduction to you would be helpful for them?
If you hear someone say they don't like their website or their website doesn't bring prospects to them, those are great red flags. Someone mentioned something to the effect of, I just got a bad review that was BS, or maybe it wasn't BS, who knows. Things like that are phrases to look for. Or I have an old website, or my website doesn't look good on the phone, or it's slow, or I need more sales kind of thing. I need to grow the business, those type of things.
Okay. And what tell us a little bit about some of the challenges you might have had along the way with this particular business, a bump
Well,
in the road.
probably the biggest challenge has been the massive change that has occurred in the local SEO. When I started this in July of 2011, it was much simpler to get a business on the first page of Google. And even in the map section, because it showed 7 businesses on the map section. Now it only shows 3. And so it's harder to get in that top 3. Also, what works to get there is much more involved today than it was 9 years ago. And the biggest thing with the whole business is staying on top of what works and what doesn't work, and those type of things.
Okay, so it's constant education, constant change
Yes.
of Google algorithms, and staying ahead of that curve, and sometimes a curve that's somewhat invisible to the naked eye from Google doesn't really reveal what is
Right.
moving the needle. Right. Okay. Very good. And so, quick question: what is the latest trend? What is really having impact on lead generation more so than some of the other components?
It's the maps. It's getting in that map section. People today, let's put it this way, that map section, if you do a search for a plumber or an IT company or personal injury, a lawyer, you always see the ads at the top. Then right below it, you'll see a map with 3 pins in it. And then you see 3 businesses listed below there. Getting there is what matters now, because 50% plus of all action taken on that first page of Google is in those top 3. And then the rest, well, not the rest, usually around 10% is the ads. The remainder is in the organic section, if you want to call it the little paragraph section that's below the maps. So that's where the concentration is getting there. Now, some searches won't deliver a map, so you have to still pay attention to the organic also. So we do both of those instead of just maps only, but we concentrate a lot of our effort on the map section.
And a lot of the map effort is getting more positive reviews, correct?
Well, that's definitely part of it, because over 90% of the people read between 1 to 6 reviews before they make the decision to reach out to the business, whether that's through a phone call, filling out the contact form, going to the website, or actually just visiting the location, especially if it's a store or a restaurant type place. So what you have to do is look at your competition and what number of reviews do they have. I have a personal injury attorney that has an office in Providence, and he just kind of gave up on trying to work that office because he had somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 reviews, but his main competitor had over 1,000. And what he's discovered was, with his other office locations, when he asked people, why are you calling us? How did they say, we found you and we're calling you because you had the most reviews of the ones that showed up. So he's looking, I can't even begin to build up and try to catch up to this guy with 1,000 reviews. So, and that's an extreme case. Most of the time it's not that nuts in that regard in terms of the difference. So you really need to build up your review portfolio, not only just into Google, but you want to do it in some of the other places like Yellow Pages or Angie's List. What's the other one? Yext, not Yext, Yelp, which is a pain in the yin yang. But the other part of it is you want them recent, because that's what matters. You're going to have 150 reviews, but if the last one was from 3 years ago, has very little effect because it says nothing about what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, great. So we have a sense of how to give you leads, the kind of business you have, and some of the success you've had. What would you be doing if you weren't doing this? What do you have your eye on the horizon for something next, or what would, once you become a gentleman SEO guy that no longer needs to make the millions that you currently make, you know, what would you do?
What would I do? I'd still stay in the biz. Like I said, I just love helping small business owners grow. It's a real passion of mine. Having now my fourth business, I understand how difficult it can be to grow it and to do the marketing. And I also understand how ridiculously expensive some of the stuff can be and how kind of ineffective some of it can be. Um, the old adage is that 50% of the marketing works, just which 50% isn't. And that's one of the reasons why I love the local lead generation, the SEO, because the hottest prospect is the one that's looking for the plumber, that's looking for an attorney because something happened and they need one. They're not doing a whole lot of shopping and looking around and all that other stuff. They're looking to find someone. And that's where getting found, known, liked, and trusted really helps a lot with that and moves them to doing so.
Okay, great. And the other question I have for you is, you are, if somebody hasn't met you, it means they haven't gone to a networking event in Eastern Massachusetts or Rhode Island. So you do a lot of network.
Yes.
Uh, what would you recommend for somebody who's starting out in networking? What would be your single most important tip?
Show up early or at the latest on time and stay till you close the place down. Now, I don't mean at 1 a.m. I'm talking about the networking event itself. And make a commitment to go every month or week or every other week, whatever the case may be, whether it's a BNI type of group or if it's a chamber event. Go to it consistently every month because you're not going to go and, I mean, sometimes you can go meet somebody that's interested in talking with you further and you meet with them and they become a customer. I've had that happen. But a lot of times you need to go there so that people get to know you. It's get to like you and they get to build trust. And so that's why you need to go, if you plan on doing it, pick out some ones that you want to go to and make a commitment that you're going to do that every month or whatever the case is.
Okay, great. Well, you've been very helpful. My last question is, what's the best way to reach you so someone could continue this conversation if they'd like to?
You can call me. You'll see the phone number is in the little corner next to my name and the business name. The other thing is you can just email me. Our slogan is customers at the speed of light. So that's part of my email address. It's customers at the speed of light. The @ D as in dog plus 11, the number 11 stands for digital plus 2011.com. So it's customers at the speed of light @ D plus 11.com.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Alex. Appreciate.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. This has been another episode of the More Than 2 Minute Drill from My Pinnacle Network, a business-to-business networking organization with 5 locations throughout Eastern Mass. If you're interested in learning more about us, go to mypinnaclenetwork.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much.